Unity of Houston is an inclusive church where we seek to understand and live the teachings of Jesus and other spiritual masters. At Unity, we welcome all people from all spiritual paths and every walk of life. We celebrate the diversity of our city and of our world, and we teach love, tolerance, and oneness, seeking to live in harmony with open minds and open hearts.
Wherever you are in your spiritual path, you are always welcome at Unity. Join us and discover that the life of your dreams is already within you.
Oh my goodness. I forgot what I was going to say. Good Friday. Grace Catholic. Good Friday was the darkest, saddest, hardest day of the year. As a Catholic growing up, especially Good Friday night, when all hope was gone, and Saturday in our Catholic churches, even the altars were stripped, and all of the statues were covered. Everything was gone from sight. It was as if God had disappeared and forsaken us. Tonight, I wanted to talk about losing our fear of the dark. Because when I came into Unity, I realized that forsaking feeling could never really be true. Thank you. And so knowing that losing our fear of the dark is the way through which we actually come into realizing exactly where the light is. Fear of the dark is one of the most ancient fears within us, the primary fear of childhood, isn't it? Darkness, when pitted against light, becomes equated with evil versus good. And everything feels desperate, important, significant, and vital. It's like a tug of our souls. But it hasn't always been understood that way. So in some spiritual traditions, riding the dark horse at midnight is a form, a phrase of understanding that we discover the day and the light as we ride. Because at midnight is the time at which the darkness is greatest, and it is also the next moment where light is already on its way again. And knowing that we are always in this cycle is a way of understanding and giving hope to those really dark times in our lives. Og Mandino, a motivational speaker, said, "I will love the light, for it shows me the way. Yet I will endure the darkness, for it shows me the stars." We keep looking toward the light, even in darkness. In the Christian tradition, the dark night of the soul, as outlined by St. John of the Cross, a mystic, is understood as a time of spiritual loneliness and disconnectedness that unmoors everything one has believed or thought one knows to be true. Usually some sort of process precedes it that leads into examining one's beliefs, going beyond what one has been told. It's a direct relationship with the divine at last, on some form, on some term. Joan Chittister, a spiritual teacher, says, "Darkness deserves gratitude. It is the Alleluia point at which we learn to understand that all growth does not take place in the sunlight." It invites us to remember to stay with the process, that there will be an Alleluia point, a resurrection. In shamanic teaching, there's shamanic descent into the underworld. It's an archetypal journey as a dark and fearful and mysterious and dangerous journey. And the shaman retrieves what has been lost, restores the missing piece of the soul, and brings forth a spiritual healing out of the depths of dark and mystery and danger. Dr. Rachel Naomi Riemann, a healer on many levels, worked with people at the ends of their lives and helped them reconcile and find meaning for their lives. She says, in my initial conversation with Steve, he described his cancer as this black hole in the middle of my life that keeps pulling me in. When an image appears like this in the course of ordinary conversation, it rarely is random and may tell as much about a person's unconscious world, their deepest attitudes and beliefs, as it does of the contents of their dreams. Without our knowing it, the dream maker in us may whisper our secrets directly to others. Steve's choice of words suggested that he was using all of his strength to resist a pull, not to surrender to the force of the disease in his life. And perhaps for him, paying attention to his symptoms and taking prescribed medication came under the heading of surrender, so he was in resistance of all treatment. I called his attention to the picture in his words and suggested it might be saying something important about himself and his life. Perhaps so much of his energy was being used up in resistance, it didn't leave him a lot left over to live with. He nodded. I asked him what was in the hole, he described. Just darkness, he said simply. I invited him to explore this with me in his imagination, to allow himself to be pulled into the hole just to see what it was like. He hesitated only for a moment, and then he closed his eyes and began to enter into his own image. He imagined himself pulled into the hole, into the darkness. The following comments are from my session notes. Each one is separated by several minutes of silence. He says, "There's darkness, big darkness. I'm floating. The darkness is very soft, gentle. It supports me. I have no needs here. I'm tired. I'm at rest, totally at rest. Every cell is resting. Every cell is open. I'm filling up with life. I couldn't fill up because I couldn't open up, let go. I can open up in the darkness. Life is everywhere. Whatever happens, it will be okay." Another of my patients, caught up in rage at his cancer and its treatment, responded to this question this way. The question was, "What do you think may be needed for your healing?" He answered, "Nothing." Taking his statement at face value, I asked him to describe nothing to me. "Unending darkness," he said. Commenting on the power of that image, I encouraged him to close his eyes and allow himself to experience it. And as his face became more and more relaxed, I asked him how he was feeling. Again, these comments from my session notes are separated by several minutes of silence. He says, "The darkness is all around me, but I'm not falling. It holds me. I'm held in darkness, wrapped in darkness. The darkness is soft, almost tender. It's safe here. I needed to feel safe. I haven't relaxed since I got the diagnosis. I can rest. I am so tired. No pain here. No hunger. No need. I encouraged him to let himself relax even more fully, and watching him, it was apparent that he had slipped into a slight trance or doze, and I covered him with a soft wool blanket that I kept in my office. After a while, he commented that he could hear a sound like a great heartbeat. It was deeply comforting to him. I encouraged him to lean up against it and to rest. Soon, he began to weep softly, saying, "Mama, Mama." Darkness is not our enemy. It's not the evil. It is the renewal. It is the place of infinite potential, possibility. It is the beginning of every one of us. We all began in darkness. All life begins in darkness and then begins to be expressed in light. There's another kind of darkness, entering a place sometimes of forgetting. It was a busy morning about 8:30 when an elderly gentleman in his 80s arrived to have stitches removed from his thumb. He said he was in a hurry as he had an appointment at 9 a.m. I took his vital signs and had him take a seat, knowing it would be over an hour before someone would be able to see him. I saw him looking at his watch and decided, since I was not busy with another patient, I would evaluate his wound. On exam, it was well healed, so I talked to one of the doctors and got the needed supplies to remove his sutures and redress the wound. While taking care of it, I asked him if he had another doctor's appointment this morning because he seemed to be in such a hurry. The gentleman told me no, that he needed to go to the nursing home to eat breakfast with his wife. I inquired as to her condition. He told me that she'd been there for a while and that she was a victim of Alzheimer's disease. As we talked, I asked if she would be upset if he was a little late. He replied that she no longer knew who he was, that in fact she had not recognized him in 5 years now. I was surprised to hear that and asked him, "And so you still go every morning, even though she doesn't know who you are?" He smiled as he patted my hand. "She doesn't know me, but I still know who she is." Stephen King, author, said, "We did not ask for this room or this music. We were invited in. Therefore, because the dark surrounds us, let us turn our faces toward the light. Let us endure hardship to be grateful for plenty. We did not ask for this room or this music, but because we are here, let us dance." Holding the hand of someone we trust in the dark gives us strength and comfort, even though there is no more visible light. L.R. Nost, another author, says, "Do not be dismayed by the brokenness of the world. All things break, and all things can be mended. not with time, as they say, but with intention. So go, love intentionally, extravagantly, unconditionally. The broken world waits in darkness for the light that is you. Our metaphysical communion will begin shortly. We will be sharing it with one another, whose hands we hold in days of light and nights of darkness. God bless you all.
Thank you for watching this message today. I'd like to invite you to join us in person here on campus at Unity of Houston for Sunday morning or Wednesday evening services. If you can't be with us here on our campus, you can still join us live on Facebook or on our website, unityhouston.org, Sunday mornings at 11 a.m. Central.